Hi, and welcome to Cenario, your partner in mental wellness. Here on our channel, we share educational, insightful, and science-backed content to help you understand your mental health and take meaningful steps toward a more balanced life. If you're ready to learn, grow, and take control of your wellness journey, let's jump right in.
Let's talk about social anxiety. If you've ever felt that knot in your stomach in social situations, you've probably wondered if there's a natural way to find a little bit of calm. Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today, the real science behind the supplements that claim to help. Our goal here is to cut right through all the hype and give you the clear, evidence-based facts you need. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at why so many people are turning to natural options in the first place. Then we'll get into the cool science of how they actually work in your body. After that, we'll explore some of the most popular supplements out there, cover the absolutely critical safety stuff, and finally, we'll see how all of this fits into a bigger, more holistic picture for managing anxiety. So this is the big question, isn't it? Can grabbing a bottle of supplements from the store actually make a difference for social anxiety? Is there real science behind it, or is it all just wishful thinking? Let's find out together. All right, let's start with the why. What's fueling this huge interest in natural remedies for something as complicated and personal as social anxiety? Well, for starters, it's just a matter of scale. Social anxiety is incredibly common. We're talking millions upon millions of people all over the world. And when that many people are looking for help, it naturally drives a huge search for accessible solutions, especially ones that go beyond traditional prescriptions. And this really gets to the heart of it. A lot of people are understandably concerned about the potential side effects that can come with some medications. Plus, there's this massive shift happening where people want to be more in control of their own health. That leads them to look for things that can either complement the treatment they're already getting or serve as an alternative they feel good about. Okay, so we know why people are trying them, but how are these supplements even supposed to work? Let's dive into the biology, into the actual pathways they use to bring about a sense of calm. It really boils down to three main approaches. First, some supplements act kind of like a sound mixer for your brain, helping to tweak the levels of key neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA to get the balance just right. Second, others work more like a dimmer switch for your body's stress alarm, helping to lower levels of the stress hormone, cortisol. And third, sometimes it's as simple as filling in nutritional gaps that might be making anxiety symptoms worse. All right, now for the main event. Let's get into the specifics. We're going to look at some of the most talked about supplements and, more importantly, what the actual scientific evidence says about them. First up, L-theanine. You've probably already had this without even realizing it. It's the special compound in tea leaves, especially green tea, that creates that unique feeling of being both relaxed and alert. It's basically the reason a cup of tea can feel so calming yet keep you focused. So, how does it do that? How does it pull off that cool trick of calming you down without making you want to take a nap? Well, it works by influencing your brain's mood regulators, serotonin and dopamine. That's its secret. This is why it can reduce that feeling of stress without the drowsiness. For anyone curious, a typical dose usually falls somewhere between 100 and 200 milligrams a day. Next, let's talk about ashwagandha. This is a really well-known herb from ancient Ayurvedic medicine, and it's what's known as an adaptogen. The best way to think about an adaptogen is like a thermostat for your stress levels. It doesn't just turn stress off, it helps your body adapt and become more resilient to it over time. And its mechanism is really interesting. Ashwagandha directly targets cortisol, which is the body's primary stress hormone. By helping to lower cortisol, it's not just giving you a temporary sense of calm, it's actually helping to build up your long-term stress resilience. A common dose for this one is usually in the 300 to 500 milligram range per day. Now let's look at two others, GABA and inositol, because the research story for each is a bit different. On one hand, you have GABA. Our bodies naturally produce this stuff to calm our nerves. As a supplement, it looks promising in early studies, but the research on humans is still playing catch-up. Then you have inositol, which is related to B vitamins. Some smaller studies have actually shown it can be effective in reducing panic attacks because of how it influences serotonin. And of course, the list goes on. You've got other herbs like kava and passion flower, but listen up, this is super important. You have to be really cautious with kava because of a known risk to the liver. Then there are the foundational nutrients, things like magnesium and omega-3s, which are just essential building blocks for a healthy brain. And finally, you have what I call the deficiency fighters, like B vitamins and choline, which can help if a lack of those nutrients is part of the problem. I know that was a lot of info, so this summary chart is a really great way to see it all laid out. You can easily compare something like L-theanine or ashwagandha, which have a moderate level of evidence, with something like GABA, where the human evidence is still pretty low. It just helps you weigh how it works against how strong the science is, so you can see what might make the most sense. Okay, let's hit pause. This next section is, without a doubt, the most important one we're going to cover. Before you even think about starting any of these supplements, we absolutely have to talk about safety. And just to be crystal clear, this is not medical advice, but it is information you need to know. If you take only one single thing away from our chat today, please let it be this. You have to remember that the supplement world isn't regulated like pharmaceuticals are. What works wonders for your friend could do nothing for you, or it could even be harmful. So please always, always talk to a doctor or another qualified healthcare provider first. It's non-negotiable. And here's exactly why that conversation is so critical. First, everyone's body is different. What works for one person might not work for another. Second, these supplements can potentially interact with other medications you're taking in ways you might not expect. Third, side effects can happen. Often they're mild, like an upset stomach, but they're still possible. And finally, as we've seen, for a lot of these, we just don't have those big, long-term human studies to know the full story yet. So, after all that, where do we stand? Well, let's zoom out and put supplements in their proper place, as just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle when it comes to mental wellness. This right here is the bottom line. It is so tempting to look for that one quick fix, that one magic bullet, but that's not what supplements are. Think of them as just one tool in a whole toolbox you can use to build a comprehensive plan for managing anxiety. You see, a truly effective strategy has many parts. It might include supplements, sure, but it should also include things with a ton of evidence behind them, like therapy, CBT, for example. It includes lifestyle changes like eating a balanced diet and getting regular exercise. And it includes stress management techniques like mindfulness or meditation. All these pieces work together, creating an effect that's way more powerful than any one piece on its own. And that brings us to the end. The research here is really exciting, but it's also very much a work in progress. The potential for these natural options to offer real help is there, but so are the risks and the unknowns. So it leaves us with one last really important question to think about. As you navigate your own path, how can you best balance that feeling of hope with the thoughtful caution that smart, responsible self-care really demands?
Thank you for watching Cenario. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. For personalized mental wellness supplements, visit Cenario.com. See you in the next one.